what in your mind needs to happen in order for you to get housed and get sorted?
The council needs to spend money on less stupid things like removing tents from homeless people. Put the money elsewhere. Put it into an empty building, an empty office block. Eradicate the city's homeless situation, that one building.
Is there something the council could do better?
Well, yeah, they should, basically, they should prioritise and say, look, yeah, we know you've been homeless for many years. It's about time to give us a little place to live, or a hostel or something like that. Or, well, not a hostel, a little bedsit or something. There's quite a few of us now.
How did you break your collarbone?
Well, I slipped into Preston Park because the council came round and said we're not allowed to put tents up in Preston Park. We've got 10 minutes to pull it down or they're going to destroy it. We couldn't pull everything down and carry loads of bags and that. So, and as I was walking down, because it was been raining, I slipped in the air and landed on my collarbone and smashed my collarbone in.
Why did the council need to take the tents down?
We do have some rough sleepers sleeping in tents within the city or within encampments. It's very dangerous on the street. It's not a safe place. It's not a healthy place. Our strategy is to work with any of our rough sleepers, whether they're in tents or not, and support them to move off the streets and into housing, which is absolutely the right place for them to be. And sometimes that will mean that we'll need to work with people who are living in tents. We would never go in the middle of the night. We would never do that without any notice. We would bring in a lot of the supporting services and work with them to help them to make different decisions and to move forward. Sometimes the tents are in dangerous places and we can't just leave people. That would be negligent on our part to allow people to carry on living in very dangerous environments.
Isn't living in a tent in Preston Park safer than being on the street on North Street or something?
Well, they're both potentially dangerous, aren't they?
So we're really focused on working with those that sleep on the streets.
We are using, we're working with Seafront Office, City Parks, Street Community Policing Team, City Clean, Pavilions and Brighton SOS to look at targeting encampments. So it's been really good that we were able to work in a different way for, like, it only took, I'd say a couple of months of pressure from the King Alfred. We've engaged with the occupant now. It wasn't actually his tent. It was one that was found there and then he just moved into it and then he said, I'm going, I'm not staying there.
God. Oh, thank you, darling. Thank you, darling. Oh, thank you, darling. God, thanks, baby. And now I'm getting depressed. Suicidal, you know what I mean? I don't want to take drinking pills. People ask me to a junkie and that, but I'm not. I'm a human being like everybody else, but I deserve a chance. I'm 48 years old. What am I going to do? Be a sad lonely old man asking for spare change every day. It's hard because it just... no help for us. Well, it is, but we never get no help. You know, I ain't got no people working with me. I ain't got family.
Potentially some people do fall through the cracks of all of those different services. Maybe they've tried some of the services, they've been in and out of accommodation, for whatever reason, that's not been successful. And people have a lot of distrust of anyone in any position of authority, and it takes a different approach. We're just about to start a new project with particularly working across the city and some of our partners outside with 150 of the really long-term rough sleepers, people who've been on the street for a number of years and have been around the circuit a number of times and have become very disenchanted. And you need a very intensive, different approach with those people. So I'm very optimistic that that project, which is quite a significant amount of funding and some new, very tailored workers, will make a difference with those people.
Our team is commissioned to work with rough sleepers in Brighton and Hove. We go out, we do street shifts, so we get our information from lots of agencies or through StreetLink. reporting where rough sleepers are, and then we would go out early in the morning on street shifts and verify rough sleepers, even if it's for 1 night, 2 nights, 60 nights, they come under our remit. We take the service to someone rather than expect someone to come to us to access. And that's not because we disbelieve people, we don't believe that people are sleeping rough when they say that. I think it's around us prioritising our work and making sure that we're getting our resources to the ones that we are finding on the streets, and look at the best sustainable route away from rough sleeping. I've worked on the team for 15 years, and this is probably the hardest it's ever been. Rough sleeping is a crisis, so by the time you get to that point, everything else has failed. And we know that the longer you stay on the streets, the harder it is to move away from that lifestyle. I don't think anyone chooses to rough sleep. I think it's a situation you find yourself in, which is really hard to move out of once you're there. So the team would work assessing people and looking for the best sustainable route away from rough sleeping, which, as we know, Brighton has got a housing crisis, so I would love to be able to say, yes, let's house everybody in Brighton.
And you were saying you wanted to be a crane driver?
Yeah, high tower crane driver, yeah, that's my ambition.
And why?
Because I've always wanted to do it. I mean, it's £12,000 for the course. If I pay $750 to pass the course, I have to work for them for 2 years, but then I've got a job 200 foot in there on my own, making me roll-ups, drinking me cups of tea. Because hopefully the job centre will see you, trying to progress, you see it all on record, right, there's the job centre, present myself, right, can you help me out with this course? Yes, of course we can. Otherwise, why is the job centre there? I'd like to work with old people and disabled people because I think they need it, and and things like that. I'm homeless, and I deserve somewhere to live,
Did you used to have a trade or something that you did as a job?
Well, I'm a singer.
A singer?
Yeah, I play the drums and I'm an entertainer and things, so I like to be on X Factor. If you hadn't heard me sing, I've got a really powerful voice. You can hear me about 3 miles down the road.
Does the council have any plans to try and connect with rough sleepers in the future?
We've got some really exciting new projects coming up to build on our rough sleeper strategy. We've got a piece of work that's going to be working around prevention, because obviously preventing people becoming rough sleepers in the first place is really, really important. So helping to identify when people might be at risk and working with them really, really early. We've got a second project that's looking at some very new rough sleepers, people who are very new to the streets, and actually putting some really fast, intensive support into them to help them move forward. Another project that's working with some of the rough sleepers who've been on the streets maybe for many, many years and have very complex problems. It's a very different approach that you might need with them. So there's some of the things within our strategy that we're going to be bringing forward and over the next couple of years, which are going to have a real impact across the city.
When you ask clients, the Brighton's got a really good reputation of being a liberal, diverse, welcoming city, and so it has lots of draws for both rich people and poor people, because actually the reasons are exactly the same. Is everyone wants a little bit of that, and it's a seaside city. It's got quirkiness, it's accepting, and why wouldn't people who can't afford to live here want to come here just as much as the rich people who can afford to live here? So it comes at a cost, I suppose. If you want Brighton to be like that, then you've got to invest in it, because you will draw those people in here.
Yeah, I'm 42 now. Some of the nicest people that I've met in my lifespan. Leave that alone. Leave that alone. Leave that alone. Are the people that I've met on the streets. They're some of the most, including this fella here. I've seen people, and Cameron, but I've seen people give me literally the last penny out their pockets, and they're some of the nicest, most generous, most giving people that I've ever met. And if only the whole world could think the same way as people who've got nothing think. One day I could wake up with nothing, but he's got something, so he'll share his thing with me. And if I've got something and he hasn't got anything, I'll share it with him. And that's how the world should work. And and if only everyone thought the same way. And I'd never experienced that until I became homeless. Literally, people spending like literally the last penny that they've got out of, you know, all of their worldly possessions, the last penny in their pocket, and they would spend it on you. And you're one of them, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a pink trainer.
Of course you are. Yeah. And that's hard to come by. And people like that are, you know, they become friends for life. They become proper special people.
I'd rather have him as my dad than my dad.
Winter is blowing